So I just wanted to make doubly sure that everybody can understand if you needed to, just to make sure that you can check for an error, because I don't think I've demonstrated any error programming yet. Created a bunch of threads. I was looking at all the output for each of my threads. So you don't need to print a bunch of stuff like this every time the thread executes. I'm really hardcore when I do my debugging. I just don't stop myself from trying to print a bunch of stuff. And I find it useful up to a point. Anyway, if you really wanted to know that what the problem was is that we ran out of resources to create another thread. We've got the error and status value 11, which matches with the documentation for the define macro EAGAIN, E again. So we've got an error that may seem like an arbitrary name for it. But if you look up pthread create and you go down to section, most of these system calls that you've got, they typically have a section with a description of the different macros for the error values you could check. So we see E again, it's insufficient resources to create another thread. It lists it one more time, and then it gives a little bit more information. See where you can check the actual limit that we looked at before. So you could always read a little bit more about it. But just to go back to my code so you can see what I did. I realized the error I was getting before was actually because I needed to increase to match the values for the number of threads I was creating for the thread IDs I wanted to have for them. So even up to 100,000, I know I could create that many, but then because down in my thread code, we're taking a chance to recursively create more, there's going to be a few more, and I happen to reach the limit on my system. And then how do you get the status value? Well, I would typically have this on like one line. Maybe if I wanted to have good style indentation, I'd have it on another line and indent one time. Sometimes what I like to do with the arguments that I'm passing into a function call is put them all each on their own line like that. And then it's almost like the opening parentheses and closing parentheses are similar to the braces we're using with the indentation. Once you get the status value back from the function call, you can check which value it matches with. So I'm just using a switch statement for that to see which one does it match. So I grab my status value, make the switch, and then for each case, if it matches with that one, and really each of these macro constants, they're just an integer value that's defined in the header files. Up at the top, I had to add, 1 second. I had to add an include for the header error numbers, just so it recognizes what those macros are that are defined in the headers. And we can see which one just by printing it out. Normally, you'd probably give some kind of error status. You'd not be likely directly printing out the macro name. And I just wanted to see which one it was. Okay, hopefully that helps clarify a few things. If you need to do some error programming, you could do it. Remember, another thing you can try to do if you're running into trouble to help with debugging is with your nano sleep function calls, and you could make your threads wait a little bit. That's not going to completely control the order that they're executing. But once in a while, I find myself, if I'm programming in threads, it can help. It's not going to fix everything or always get you to the root of the problem, but sometimes it can get you there.